Well, good morning. I'm down the plot again. I've managed to trim about another third of that path. When it's long, it doesn't like to trim very easily. It was, at least waist height. So yeah, the battery's dead on that, but I knew it wouldn't do it all. Okay, today I have two choices. I can either put the squash plants in, the winter squash, or the tomatoes. So yeah, I think I don't know, both really need to go in. Both I have to pull back the winter black plastic. I need to weed, then I can put the woven stuff into place and burn the holes. Either which is going to take longer than I want it to. Oh well, we'll see which I decide. Well, so I react very quickly to bites of insects. So if you've got any good suggestions of what cream or bug spray I could use, it will make me a lot more comfortable to not keep getting bitten by things. So I've decided the tomatoes are more desperate than the winter squash. So that's the, I guess it's two beds I'm going to work on today. What will be the polytunnel. Yes, I know I'm planting it up again without putting the plastic on, but I will get to the plastic as soon as I can. As soon as I've ordered it, because I'm sure it won't take me that long to fit. I just need to order the plastic. Okay, I decided my face is getting too much sun. Having to protect it, aside from sun cream. My sun hat doesn't have any cardboard in it, so it's washable. I got them from Tesco's. There's this and a plain green one. There's a 2-pack from Tesco's last year. And they're comfortable and do the job. But more importantly for the plot, it's washable. So on with the work. So this is the before bit. As you can see, I got some grass weeding, nettles, a bit of sticky weed. The majority of the bed will be clear because it's been covered, but it's just around the edges I need to work on. So I've pulled up all the weeds. I need to take that black plastic off, give it a rake, and then put the woven stuff on top, pin it down if I've got any pins. So after pulling back the black plastic, it's not too bad. Yeah, there's some rodent holes. That's not a rodent hole over there, that's why I pulled up some stinging nettleweed, and a lot of the soil came with it. So I will give it a quick weed, a quick rake. So yeah, not too bad. Okay, well it took me way too long to work it out and decide. But I've planted out some of the tomatoes and I've made plans for the other ones. Over here I've got 4 different sorts of bush tomato, you know, whether they be a beefsteak or whatever. So there's 2 of each type. There is 2 Romas, 2 Tom Principal Burgess, 2 Costelluto Florentino, and 2 Paul Robinson. So I'm gonna grow those this year, decide what I like the taste of and how they grow the best, and then cut the varieties down to just what is my favourite next year. Now I also decided that I'm going to put my climbing varieties in the greenhouse. Let's say climbing, indeterminate. I'll have to tie them in. But I'm not going to totally fill the greenhouse with those varieties. If I have any space left after I've planted out the winter squash plants, I might put some in on one of those frames. But I'm going to take these bush varieties back home and I might put those in the back garden because I just don't have enough room. As always, I've grown more than I've got room for. I always get carried away with the tomatoes. I thought I was being a bit more restrained. Nah, still overdid it. Now, let's see if stuff survived because it's been hot. Hopefully, what's in the beds isn't all wilting, and what I hadn't planted out but left in a bit of water, I hope that's not wilting. That bed of brassicas looks alright. That bed mostly looks alright, even the little ones. And the little ones in there. Oh, that's good. Need to start weeding that. Those look okay. A few yellow leaves, but that'll do. It's what's in the greenhouse that's worrying me. Let's have a look. Okay, they are out of water. I think they are totally out of water, but they survived those 2 days and they're not totally wilty. That one's wilty, but the rest has survived. Even these, what would be the polytunnel, they've survived. They look like they need a drink, but they've survived. This maximum minimum thermometer says 29.3. Well, it's only been about 22 degrees, so I'm not sure about that. But the minimum says 4.2. So I think the minimum for females was 6. So yeah, it might have been a degree cooler down here, but everything looks like it survived. I'm not sure I believe that maximum temperature. Because that thermometer is in the sun in the morning, and then the rest of the time it's shaded. So, my plans. Trim a bit more of the side path, which has, I've got to like waist height, and sorry about the wind, and get in the, I've got the squash frames. I want to put it in the woven fabric underneath that. So that's going to be fun on my own. I was hoping to bring family down for that to help, but it's not worked out, so. And I've got more of the metal pins. Let me show you. Landscape fabric that the pins you used for it. I ordered a box online. They're like this. Okay, not too big, but they'll do the job. But if you buy it, the cheapest you can buy it, I think is Wilko's, is a 10 pack for £2.50. Which is really quite expensive. I need at least 100 just to finish off what I've done down on the plot, let alone what I need in my back garden. So I was thinking, well, I probably need 200-ish, but 200 was £20. Now 500 pins was £30. So I thought I might as well go 500 and then they'll last me several years. So I think it works out, I don't know, something like, I think my husband said something like 7p each or something like that. So I think that's pretty good. So hopefully that's a good investment. I've been trying to invest in the plot, not spending lots of money on fancy looking beds, but over the years I've bought the white scaffolding netting. I have bought the metal supports for the squash frames. I've bought the landscape fabric and I bought the metal pins. Everything else is recycled. Oh, of course I bought screws, but I think I've kept the cost down considerably. So my goal for putting all this weed fabric down is to make my job easier. Every year I get to a certain point in the year and I really struggle to keep up with the allotment. Well, last year we had that big long drought, so watering was a nightmare. Also just keeping up with the weeding. There's already lots of bindweed coming up through the fruit cage, so putting the weed fabric down on the other beds and just planting through it means I can concentrate my efforts on the fruit beds, on taming those, getting the bindweed under control, and the cinquefoil. So let's get on with the work. So this is where I'm to on this. It's a rough cut, about 2/3 of the way up. So I need to do the cut at the very end, get down that stupidly high weeds, and then if we're going to need battery life, I'll come back along here to make this a bit shorter. What I've got to tackle. This rose has come over the fence, over the path, and there's really thick bramble. I might need to get my snips on that. Well, that looks so much better. I can actually get almost to the end. But I only got halfway back down before the battery ran out. The next time I'm down, I'll work on this bit, getting it a bit neater. It's not waist high anymore, but it's still rough. I think I'm going to start on this one, which is closest to the brassica tent, because I think it's the least weedy. And I've got to take out the plastic, weed all the weeds that are growing in it, and then lift on my own, bit by bit, the frame so I can slip under the other sort of weed suppressant. It should be interesting. I don't know if it's possible. This is what it's like with the plastic off. And most of this growth, obviously not the peas I've planted at the end, but most of this growth just came up through a small gap. So yeah, I'm going to have to be very careful. And it's like another ant's nest in the middle. What a surprise. Look closer. Most of this weed is bindweed and cinquefoil. That's my two biggest pains. Well, that's one bed done. I haven't not burnt the holes and planted, but it's weeded, and I laid out the black fabric, kind of rolled it a bit, rested the hole onto it, sorted out the other side, then burnt the hole in, and it's just the very tiniest hole, just enough to get the pole through. And then did that on there, and there, and there. So that's how I managed it on my own. But it's quite warm weather, so I have to keep taking breaks and sitting in the shade. That's why it's slow progress. But I don't want to overheat. It does look smart though, so I'm happy with that. That's what keeps eating my crops. A little field mouse and its siblings. Not exactly running away, are you? Come on, Em. Run away, mouse. I gotta do some weeding. Come on. Yep, and it disappeared down some kind of hole there. So it doesn't seem to matter what mulch I use, whether it's just wood chips, whether it's cardboard and wood chips, whether it's damp-proof membrane, whether it's the woven stuff, or even if I don't use it, I still have the mice chewing on what I plant out. It's bad enough with the slugs, but with the mice as well. I mean, I've kept the rabbits off, because there's lots of rabbits around here. I've kept the deer off. Most of the time I keep the birds off, but I can't keep the mice or the slugs off. Oh well, the fun of gardening with the wildlife. That massive wasp thing. I think it's about thinking about going in my shed. No, you're not. That is massive. Is that a hornet? I certainly don't want to argue with it. Whoa! Oh, go away. That's better. It seems we've got all the wildlife today. What's going to be next? Oh, I'm hot. I'm done. Let me show you what I got done today. Might not look a lot, but I've got all three of these weeded, covered and pegged down, and the squash frames through a hole in the plastic. I have not yet planted out the plants, but that is so much better. I know I say I like this weather, but I'm warm. So yeah, it might not look like lots, but I've weeded it as best as I can and prepared the way for planting. So that will, I don't know, might be tomorrow, might be the next day. But I'm really tired, my back's complaining. So I'm not doing any more, I'm going home. I need to listen to my body. Thanks for watching, bye for now.